you were aiming for. Probably the heart, yeah, you hit it hard. Oh, you hit it so hard, eh. If I called you right now, would you pick up? I wonder this all night, yeah. I wonder this all night, yeah. You see, you have been on my mind this whole time. I never wanna stay alone at night. You see, you have control of my mind this whole time. I never wanna feel alone again at night.
um, Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I have Gwen with me, and it's super exciting to do this for the first time. We are going to basically just chat with you, talk about serverless stuff, and just like have fun. It's not today. Today is not the actual official day that we're supposed to stream for serverless, but we thought, hey, why not just like jump on stream on a Wednesday and just like have fun with um so Gwen and I are going to like spend some time with you, like throw in questions. If the room feels so quiet, we'll talk about like some serverless stuff, or like just maybe visit existing articles people have written on serverless. But apart from that, feel free to reach out through the chat, Twitter chat, Twitch chat. Just like say hi, ask questions on serverless, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. Not just serverless, like anything cloud related. We're basically here to just nerd out.
Yeah.
So, Gwen, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. When probably around Twitter or something. I'm super excited. I've never been on Twitch before, so I'm kind of nervous. No better person to do a debut than with you. So yeah, ask us anything really. I'm a huge fan of cloud computing in general. So for all the questions, maybe just talking about. Yeah, let's
Cool.
get it going.
So I'm really happy to see like people joining. Hi Mark, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining. Feel free to throw in all your cloud questions. We love serverless questions, but any other question. And speaking about anxiety, the thing I really like about streaming is that you don't have to like this is one place where it's okay to be very natural. Like I speak at conferences a lot, and I feel like I have just one chance to get it right. Hey Jan, Jan is saying hi on Twitter. Hi, hello. So I feel like you have only one chance to get it right when it comes to like speaking on stage. But then with things like live streaming, you're basically like chilling with your community. You're basically just like hanging out and talking about stuff. It's like more like, hey, I have like these few friends online where we hang out and like chat about like serverless stuff or cloud stuff or games or movies or anything that you want to talk about. That's like one thing I really like about streaming. That's my actual reason for getting into it, because it's my opportunity to connect with my community without all the nerve-wracking experience of like going on stage and speaking. Hi,
Yeah, definitely.
Abweniga, thank you for joining us. Please, we are expecting all your questions on serverless. Like feel free to like throw in all those questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Gwen, do you have anything special to share with us today?
Anything special? I can't think of anything. No, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm fine. I'm really excited we are doing this because like serverless is as an advocate, like as long as I'm not uh told exactly what to advocate about, serverless is what I always go for. Like I love to talk about it. It's my favorite cloud solution. The fact that okay, I'm going to back to this for someone asking what is your favorite ID. Hi, Cliff. Hey, nice to. Gwen, do you want to go first with your favorite IDE?
Favorite IDE? Probably Visual Studio.
Are you just saying that because you're an MVP?
No. I really do I like Visual Studio.
Yeah.
What about yours?
Yeah, mine is Visual Studio as well. VS Code to be precise. I know people like I don't know if people like today consider it as an IDE, but generally I've always used VS Code, and it kind of like has the ability to do like most of the things I would have wanted to do if I was using any of the like fully qualified IDEs. Things like connecting to the cloud and being able to like do like debugging, and like now you can like connect with people online and like the live debug stuff. It's like like one of the amazing things I like about. Someone is asking what's serverless, please. Yeah. Okay. Gwen, I can take that one first, or do you want to go?
You can go first.
Okay, cool.
I'll go after you.
Okay, cool. The way I like to think about serverless is, Abonika, think of it this way. You generally, when you build your site, you build a complete heavy monolith application. For example, you're building an e-commerce site. Everyone loves e-commerce. You're building an e-commerce site, and then you basically build the product section, the order section, the category section, everything. Like you bundle everything into this one monolith scary application that becomes very 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 terrifying to changes to. Like you bundle all of these things together and put it into one container called server, and then like attach a domain name to it, an IP address, and then expose it to the public and like do all the authentication stuff, and then you hope that nothing breaks. But then but then at the end of the day you start realizing that you have to do things like okay, today is there's a holiday sales, for example. There's like the Christmas sales, and everyone is rushing to your site to like buy all like the Christmas trees for their homes, and then you realize you're having more traffic, and for you to actually like maybe accommodate more from more orders, you might need to, let's say for example, go and buy a full basically like buy like go to your cloud provider and like, hey, I want an extra storage or an extra like processing power, which at the end of the day you might not like. You might just buy, let's say for example, let's say you buy a 500 gigabyte storage extra from your provider, because the provider does not offer anything less than 500 gigabytes. But then for that sales, you just need about like 10 gigabytes to like take care of this storage. And at the end of the sales, you have to now dispose. You have to like scale down again to dispose all the resources you're no longer using, because that's sales is over. This becomes like a very terrifying experience for engineers, because as a developer, for me, you end up focusing on like managing like servers instead of like writing actual code that makes your product better. Now, the powerful thing about serverless is not just that it allows you to break things into composable units, but the fact that it has, at least I'm sure of Azure Functions, it has this auto scaling feature where it basically says, hey, just give me a code to a particular end. Just give me the code to a particular endpoint, and I will handle everything for you. And everything basically means that it's going to automatically scale when you have more customers. It's going to automatically scale up. It's going to automatically scale down. It's very economical. It basically starts trying to save you money when people are not actually using the app that are consuming those services. But then when people start using them again, it tries to scale up to accommodate for the needs. So that's one thing I really love about it. But from a general point of view, it's more of like a way to decentralize application, to not just be monolith, but like you can have like a serverless endpoint handling like others, a serverless endpoint handling categories and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I've said too much, but Gwen, do you want to say a little bit more about it?
Yeah, before I move forward, I was checking the chat and it's saying that my audio is distorted, so like just me.
But I noticed, but I think it's clear enough. It's something we can fix. Let me see. Maybe. Yeah, it's actually distorted for me. Yeah, are they saying my?
Yeah, it's below to hear me. All right. So you hear me like kind of distorted as well?
Yeah, I hear you distorted. So I think it's not from like the broadcasting. It's also like a Zoom thing,
Yeah.
which probably comes from like, audio. But like while you are figuring it out, and shout out to people. Hi, Deadloop. Yeah, Deadloop is saying that the Azure function. Yeah, I love the Azure function extension for VS Code. Amazing. Like just like one click away from the. Yeah, I think it's better now. It's amazing.
Second. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Listen,
Zoom
mine
just
is
like
mine is starting
quit
to
on
sound
me.
distorted. Yeah.
All right. I think.
Okay.
Am I better now?
Yeah, yeah, I
Everything's
can
good
hear
now?
you clearly. Yeah. How about mine? Is it
Okay.
better?
I can hear you fine, but I don't know what
Okay.
the.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Deadloop and everyone for the scan. I think Mark is asking a question.
Okay.
Something about serverless before we Mark's question.
Yeah, I mean, you answered it pretty well, but I think everyone likes to get hung up on serverless, and then it's not really like servers are still running your code, so that's like important, right? But the thing is, when you think as like a developer using server, since you don't have to worry about any maintenance or provisioning,
Yeah.
and you focus on the actual business logic, it essentially becomes serverless for you. But obviously the cloud platform or whoever is taking care of all the infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think I guess that plus everything you said is just solid. And I think as like for entry level, getting started with serverless is like
Yeah.
a lot easier than traditional kind of formats of developing.
Yeah.
Because like you can spin up a really small, I think like an Azure function, like with like all the Azure function code has. And it's so easy to deploy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love serverless. Like we could talk about this all day, but let's move on to
Yeah.
the next question.
Okay, cool. First of all, I'm happy everyone our audio is clear now. Marcus is asking, what are the common pitfalls for devs who are new to serverless? Gwen, do you want to go for it?
Yeah. The common pitfalls. Okay, so I think the first thing, like for me, is when I was first getting started with serverless, I thought like, oh, I have to build these really big applications, and I have to make sure I'm like creating like different functions for each thing, and I really wanted to start out like massive and big, and instead of realizing that the great thing about serverless is that you can make it as small, as specific, or as large as you want it. So when you're getting started, you don't necessarily have to build an entire thing. You could just automate. Like the first thing that I used serverless for was to do some like spreadsheet processing. So it was simple. It was one spreadsheet, a weekly thing, and it just had to run once a week. That's it. That's how I started, and that was enough to get me in the know of like how like serverless works and all that stuff. But I see lots of people trying to like completely take a website and like turn it into serverless now, and I think that might turn some people. So like start small, and go build on. I think that's the biggest.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, makes sense. I have the same like point of view and opinion as well. For me, it's more like at first people would throw the fact that serverless is cheap to you, and then you want to like basically build like the next big social network with just serverless functions. It has its strengths and weaknesses, but where I've seen it shine the most is when it comes to like extending. You don't have to like migrate your entire system to something that is like it's completely decentralized. But what you could do is if you have an existing monolith application and you want to probably want to like start processing payment, like at this point you have enough customers, and your customers, you feel like your customers are getting value from what you are giving them, and you want to start accepting payment. You don't have to go and start touching the existing code base. As long as you have an exposed API, you can use serverless function to hook to like a payment provider like Stripe, and then plug that API into plug that serverless function API into your existing monolith API, and then you have like payment. That's like how I like it's for me it's more of a progressive experience instead of like whole like 100% going for it. You like start small and then you gradually like start getting yourself fully absorbed.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, someone said no audio. Can everyone in the chat hear us?
audio.
That's that's weird. Okay, I think okay, I think
Audio is
it's
good.
hi, I am. Maybe you should check if you're muted or something. Everyone. Cool. Clifton Craig is asking is like, okay, let's talk then. Docker and Kubernetes. How do you use this in a serverless environment? Um, I don't know if Gwen has any had like any answer to this, but personally, the point I'm excited about the reason why I'm excited about serverless is the fact that as if I'm developer focused, like I don't have much experience with DevOps and cloud engineering, but I have like a lot of experience as a front end developer. And the whole point of serverless for me is the fact that I don't have to worry much about infrastructure and like how orchestration works and like all those like really complex parts of uh, cloud native engineering. So what I end up doing is just, hey, I have this web app I'm building, and I'm happy that I have enough tools that I have like low hanging fruit like serverless I can use to build this app. So I didn't have any experience working uh, Kubernetes or Docker with serverless. I've worked with both of them on their like differently, but not with serverless.
Yeah.
Have you had any experience with them, Glenn? Like I know Azure Function like is I don't know like I I don't I'm not sure what the possibilities are, but like it's some research we'll do and maybe like share during weeks when we're live streaming on Fridays.
I don't have any experience with Docker in terms of like serverless. Again, I've done it with like, applications, but I haven't really worried about anything besides functions that I've developed. But
Yeah.
if I guess maybe because I haven't worked at that scale that requires something like orchestration. Yeah, that's a good thing for us to look into. Maybe that into one.
Sounds good. Great. Let me see if we have any chat. I'm just checking if we missed anything. What's so fun? Okay, quick.
someone
Yeah.
said-
What? I think I am still unable
Azure
to.
function.
Okay, go on. Go on.
Oh no, someone just said Azure Functions extension. Good.
Yeah. I think the person is talking about like the Azure function for VS Code extension, which is like one of my favorite things ever. Yeah, like it's like I was saying that it was like it's like basically a one click away to deploying like your function project. Like literally, like if we have enough time, we can like show like like quickly show people how it works. But it's like it makes like building and deploying apps are so easy, like so unbelievably easy. So what, Gwen,
Yeah,
while we wait,
with Visual Code.
Gwen?
Yeah, with Visual Code and all the like the Azure extensions and Azure functions, you can go from creating full Azure HTTP trigger to deploying it in what, not even. So it makes it super.
Cool. Okay, so while we wait for people to ask more questions, why don't we like share our experiences working with serverless? Like you can talk about like apps you're building or apps you've built or like demos you've seen people talk about or articles you've read and like all those crazy stuff. Does
Okay.
anything come to mind?
I mean, how about we talk about what's the first thing
Okay.
when?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sounds perfect.
All right. Okay, I could go first.
Yep.
The first thing I did was like, yeah, so spreadsheet processing, or maybe it was like I think it was like a CSV or something,
Yeah.
and it was a function that I did inside of the portal, so it wasn't even like Visual Code or just I just built it
Yeah.
inside of the portal, and this was maybe like maybe 2 years ago or something, so I was just like brand new to all of it, and it was so cool because you know how in the portal you can like execute it right away and you see on the right side the results, you see them right away, and
Yeah.
then I just realized like, wow, this is an entire piece, this is an entire application running just right in front of me. And it's like all I had to do was click like a couple of settings, and then from there it was just like, okay, what can I do? Everything. But as of lately, the stuff that I've been really interested in, I'm building like my own personal website, and the front end is Blazor WebAssembly, and all
Yeah.
the back end is Azure Function. So I'm using like Cosmos DB, like Severless offering for all like the information that I functions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm that's the stuff I've been working on. But I really like I can't remember who I saw demo this, but like the Signal R service with Azure Function.
Yeah.
I think that is like super cool. That's something that I want to learn about. All the time stuff. But yeah, there's like so much that I'm. What about you?
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Before we get to me, like I have some questions I would like to ask, like from yours. I heard you say something about like
Yeah.
Blazor and WebAssembly. Like I've been very like curious about WebAssembly. Do you want to like I know like we're digressing a bit, but do you want to like let people know what that means? Like yeah, I guess you see there isn't Blazor and WebAssembly for you for like the front side of your website, right? Like front end, right?
Yeah. So the reason I like Blazor and like especially the WebAssembly version, because you have Blazor server and then like typically for like a web application, right? And
Yeah.
then you have like the Blazor WebAssembly, which everything will execute the client side. So the reason I like Blazor is because it's all C# and .NET, which I'm familiar with. I know zero JavaScript. I think I told you this, like because we're like polar opposites. Because you're like a big JavaScript person. I'm like completely like no JavaScript at all, and like I see all these like tech Twitter. They're always fighting about like different things about JavaScript and frameworks, and I'm like so afraid to like dive in. I'm like I don't know where to start. So when Blazor came out, I was like, this is so cool. I don't have to learn anything new. I can just use stuff that I'm already and on top of it. It's been pretty easy to, I think, if you're a .NET dev and want to get into more front end stuff, Blazor is that was missing, and it's been a lot of fun to.
Cool. Okay. Before I share my own first experience with serverless, we have a quick question from Zedel one. I don't know if that's the correct. Please correct me, Zedel, if that's not the correct way to pronounce your name. But his question is: I'm new to tech and cloud is super intriguing. Would you consider it essential to obtain A plus, or learn what that has to offer before heading into cloud? I guess A plus is some kind of certification, right, Gwyn, for cloud? I've never heard. Okay.
It's no, it's CompTIA A plus. I don't think it's like a basics like IT stuff. I think it's not necessarily specific to cloud though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But like what I have to say, Z, I'm going to call you Z until like you tell me if I'm pronouncing them correctly. Yeah. But what I'm going to say about it is personally I've not had any certification like both before and after joining Microsoft. I've not had like any certification. So what my point is that you can go to just Google for go to Google and start and type Microsoft Learn. You will see like a lot of like resources on how to get started with the cloud, and like you can see like all the basic, like literally the baby steps to cloud. So you don't have to start taking any like it's not like I know like in the cloud community they respect certifications a lot, unlike like developer communities, but that shouldn't discourage you from, like you shouldn't see it from that perspective that you have to, like maybe it should be fun for you. You should like just like you said, it's intriguing. So that's what matters. At the end of the day, you might like end up having a career without any certification. It's not required. What matters is that you have fun. If you go to Microsoft to learn, you would find like literally like steps from like zero, that would take you from like literally zero to like 100 when it comes to cloud. So you have every resource you need here to get started. Yeah, exactly. Just like Deadloop said, it's not can always like become like a great cloud engineer without any certificate. Thank you, Deadloop. Cool. So let me my own experience with, just for anyone. Thank you, Deadloop. Deadloop is saying that Microsoft Learn is really good of their parts. Thank you. So for anyone just joining, Gwen and I, first of all, we're taking questions from you. So if you want to like ask any question on serverless or cloud, feel free to let us know. We really love beginner questions. So if you're wondering how to get started with any of these like words that are being thrown around, like that's the point of this stream. The point of this stream is to make sure you don't feel lost anymore. But while we wait for you to ask those questions, Gwen and I are like having like having fun, like talking about like our experiences with serverless. So she just shared our first experience, which was like building handling, like processing like spread sheets with serverless. Mine is I never and this is something I can empathize with a lot of people who are hearing serverless for the first time. It's one of those intimidating words. I thought like this is where I draw the line. I'm never going to try this. I know enough things to be okay with myself. But until one of the people I really look up to, Sarah Dressner, she wrote an article on CSS tricks on serverless, and I'm like, okay, if CSS tricks, which happens to be a front end focused blog, is writing about serverless, then maybe there's something there for me. I casually, like on my couch, read through the article, and I was mind blown. At first I was like, why are they calling this serverless? Should be called something else, something like describes it better. But just like but just like everything in tech, everything is named wrongly. But but yeah, so I went through the article, and then she wrote about it using Azure functions. So I went digging, and this was literally before I joined Microsoft. So I had like no like technical support from colleagues. So it was more of me trying to figure out what serverless is, because it made sense for me as a front end developer to have a low hanging fruit service that I can easily like deploy my backends to, while like focusing on just building like front end apps. So that was the first experience for me, and since then I've been like building a lot of like most of my projects, my blogs, my workshops, most of my contents are either on serverless or backed by serverless. I think Deadloop is asking Deadloop is asking this to you. Is sending this question to you. What would you say is first to start with? I'm somewhat fluent with JS, but would love to learn .NET. Yeah, is I know you feel excited now welcoming someone to your community.
Yeah, I think, well, let me look it up, but I think it's like .net.microsoft.com/learn. I think they have like a bunch of tutorials, and depending on what you want to get into, so if you want to get into like web or game development or like IoT, they have options there. Pulling up the yeah. So .net.microsoft.com/learn. That's where I really, And if you since you already have experience with JavaScript, and I'm assuming that you know like the fundamentals of programming, really it's just about like understanding the syntax and but you can just go into like the Microsoft documentation for .NET is actually gotten like good over the past couple of years, and there's like so many quick starts and examples, full-on documentation if you language in and out. I really don't think there's a better resource. Yes, that's the site that I was talking about.
Yep.
They have everything you need really is.
Cool. I'm at Del Lupo. He's really great for that question. Then Josh is asking, can Microsoft Learn create a great platform, allows you to have some hands-on keyboard time with Azure without having to pay for a subscription? Yeah. So this is the thing I didn't say about the Microsoft Learn website. If you want to, I don't want to make like this content. This is supposed to be about like serverless, but just for people asking in the chat. If you want to learn about the cloud, why I prefer Learn a lot is the fact that it has like sandboxes that allows you to not create create a subscription which like you don't need to have a credit to like use a credit card or anything to get started. So all you just have to do is once you get to the point where you need to be hands-on, it will automatically take you to a sandbox where you can create all the resources like a serverless function or a virtual machine or a container, all this kind of stuff. So you don't have to create you don't have to like create a subscription or like start like use a credit card before you start trying things out if you're using the Learn courses.
Yeah, especially if you're beginning, not having to pay for anything when you don't really know what's going on. It's really helpful. I'm a big fan of Microsoft Learn.
And by the way, I think it's worth mentioning that this is the like if you just Google like if you want to get started with serverless, my favorite place to go to is first of all you can like start with like understand what serverless is from the product page for Azure functions, and you can just go right there and like see what's going on. But I know if I Google like Learn MS Learn, I'm not sure of the actual URL, but MS Learn serverless, you should be able to see some learn modules and parts that anyone who wants to get started with serverless can go through. Yeah, so that's like how you get to like the for building serverless applications. You can add like tutorials on doing this and on getting started. This is where you go to.
Yeah, how did you learn like how to use like serverless? Follow official like Microsoft tutorials or how did you learn?
Yeah, so I have this thing with docs. I'm one of those people who ask questions before reading the docs. So, so I usually like start my learning journey for anything through blogs, and I end up like collecting information from different third-party sources, but then those information are not cohesive enough to like form like a complete like I don't know what to call it, but basically I have like I've heard from different people on different blogs, but then I don't have like I can't say I completely know these things. So you would see me asking questions that people who actually follow the docs would have known, that kind of thing. So for me, it wasn't the docs. It wasn't even Learn modules first, because I didn't know that the Microsoft Learn existed, but it was like through blogs and googling stuff and running into problems and then googling stuff again and then looking at logs, and yeah, so yeah. But then the one thing that really helped me was the VS Code extension that someone mentioned. Yeah, the really cool thing about it is that you can legit. It's intuitive. You can legit deploy a serverless application without even going through the docs. You can just like click around on VS Code and create a serverless function, and click around and then deploy that serverless function without like knowing like without even like having like as long as you understand the concept, so that maybe when you see a function is like if a function file is created for you, you know what like you would be expecting to see something like that. But apart from that, you don't need to know much to get started if you VS Code extend. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So should we take some time to tell people what to expect during the month for the Serverless September Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we should.
Okay, cool. So while we wait for more questions, but for the entire month of September, if you're on Twitter, you must have seen like all the buzz and the excitement about Serverless September. But then, for the first time, Serverless September was started by Emily, who is like a very good friend of mine and colleague as well. And for the first time this year, we decided to not act like what we do every month. Every day of September is to publish content that are serverless related. So if you have any content, just publish, like just publish it on your blog and share it with the hashtag Serverless September. Then what will happen is like we would like the entire serverless community as well as like folks at Microsoft would help you promote the content. But this is what we've done in the previous years. But this year we thought, okay, instead of asking people to publish content on Friday, why don't we like recap on everything that everyone has published in the week on Friday, and we will do this through live stream. And while on this live stream, we can also like go through like one of these learn modules, one of these serverless learn modules, and you can learn how to build and deploy a serverless function either with JavaScript or .NET. So that's why Gwen and I are here. We're going to be here every Friday at this same time, talking to you about like what people share during the week and like the awesome things people build with serverless. And then at the end of the day, we would build an app or build like an API with serverless. Watch us do it. You would watch us like fail miserably. Then you can like as a community, we'll all like figure it out together. So that's basically what we're going on every Friday in the month of September. Did I do enough justice to that description?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that you said was going to fail in public.
Exactly.
And I think that is something that is super important to share with the community, because I mean, yeah, we're on here, but we're not an expert. I mean, I'm not an expert.
Yep.
You know, but we just like, you know, I guess wanna learn with others. If we fail, well, hopefully someone in the chat can help us figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a super important aspect of like, you know, what we're trying to do, I guess. And yeah, so we're highlighting content, hands-on, answering some questions, you know, hanging out. Hopefully, you know, today was like definitely like a test to like work out all the kinks with the tech and fixing the audio and all that stuff. Hopefully we'll have it more figured out for the Friday. But it's cool. It's cool. Like people already are like helping us. That's awesome.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Like
I like that.
I'm excited. We like the most exciting thing that happened today is that we have people like Mark and Deadpool as part of the community trying to like we are indirectly like building a community right now, and we have people on the chat. So like I'm excited about the fact that even though what we're building on Fridays is going to be like we've never built this, but we're going to like just try to do it. We would have people like watch us and like, hey, that's a typo, you missed a semicolon and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, so like it's very reassuring that you have like the community behind. Hi Josh, thank you so much. But yeah, it's reassuring you have like the community behind you trying to support us through it, which is quite exciting. Yeah. Cool. Like still expecting questions in the chat. Feel free to ask anything cloud related serverless. By the way, you can also ask about .NET since we have um, a, a .NET developer here, and as well as JavaScript or front end stuff. So, the one, do you feel there's a hardware cost to get into cloud? No, I don't. Like. I just can use like. So the entire point of cloud is to make you not to spend on hardware, right, Gwen?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like as long as you have a laptop that can SSH into. Hi Mark, how are you? Thank you for shouting out. As long as you have a Mac that can SSH, sorry, not a Mac, sorry, like as long as you have a computer, like it doesn't matter, like if you have if you if if your if your phone has like a shell that allows you to SSH into the cloud, that's enough. Like you don't need that's all you need to be part of the cloud. So the
Yeah.
entire point of
Yeah.
cloud is for you to have like a cheaper computing hardware, and but then like a very like all your crazy stuff goes on, and you can just basically in the cloud, and then you can basically just rent and dispose them. It's no longer your property, so you don't have to care about like how much you use for a particular period of time, because once you're done with it, you can easily like this. Yeah, exactly. So just like Deadloop said, Raspberry Pi. This is what a lot of people are using these days. Like people like I have a friend who is like a cloud native engineer, and everything he does on his Raspberry Pi. So he has a Raspberry Pi that connects to his monitor with the
Really?
HDMI.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, like yeah. So like he just connects to the monitor with the HDMI and the keyboard and mouse, and then everything is literally like like no jokes with things like VS Code in the cloud and like all those like amazing things. So you can basically like write code without like storing that code on his computer. So he basically like SSH into Azure, and then basically like starts coding, and like, at the end of the day he saves his code on GitHub, and that's it. Like there's no local form of storage for him. Very comfortable. I'm not sure I can do that. I'm not that like experienced or advanced yet, but I know like there are people doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone. Exactly. Yeah. So Mark is saying that 1 million function executions of in a month is free. This is something I was going to show everyone. Like this is I'm going to like, if you take a look at my screen, I'm going to like pull up the Azure pricing calculator, and let's see what we'll have here. So this is one of the things I like to show people at workshops or events. The fact that like serverless is like ridiculously cheap. I don't know if people like if like don't keep this secret to yourself. Go and tell literally go and tell all your friends. Like serverless is ridiculously cheap. It's like I've not had anything to pay for any of my serverless instances. Like I know I don't have like a huge successful startup, but like all the traffic I get, I never had to pay for any of it. And I'm going to quickly show this. Scroll down. Yeah. So now I like to be really like crazy about this, and watch what's going to happen when I start increasing like the executions per month. Now this is like the memory size, which is 128 megabytes. This is like the execution time in milliseconds. Now pay attention to the total cost that we're going to pay for this execution. So this is 10 executions per month. It's still free. Now I'm going to add more zeros. Now we'll have 100. It's literally still free. Now I'm going to add 1000. It's literally still free. And then we have 10,000. It's still free. Like we've not paid for anything yet. And then we have 100,000, and it's still free. And we have 1 million executions per month. Like just imagine if you have 1 million customers who who are going to make a request for every 100 milliseconds, it literally means that you're not going to pay for you're not going to pay for a dime to have like if you have 1 million customers like using your site every 100 milliseconds. I feel like you're a very successful business owner. You're not paying for for clouds to like run your business. Like yeah, but you get the point. Like if I start like this is 1,000,001 and you can like start saying that we have like about cents, like for the entire month I will pay just as small as 2 cents for 1 million executions. Let's see what we get for 2 million. Literally the same thing, like 2 cents, which is like mind-blowing. So like for everyone who is probably just starting out and you're worried about like how much am I going to pay to start like doing like cloud stuff, if you get started with serverless, you're going to literally pay as like you're literally paying nothing to like serve up to 100 requests. I mean, oh, Gwen, don't you think so?
Yeah, when I was about to say the same thing. Like, if you're learning and like you're dev and you want to learn cloud, I don't see why you wouldn't want to get started with serverless. It's like it's not possible for someone who's getting started to make more than 1 million executions a month.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But then,
Yeah.
you know, some people build some crazy stuff. You never know.
Yeah. Maybe
oh yeah,
maybe
but like Mark
people
just said,
would yeah, I was going to say people would want to use it to like mine bitcoins and stuff like that. But
the only thing I was gonna bring up, and Mark just brought it up, is storage. But even that, it's gonna be like super cheap. Like I mean, you're not gonna rack up like a huge bill.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever paid for anything that I've put into production stuff. Not just production stuff. Besides maybe like, you know, $2 a month for storage or something like that. Yeah, it's fantastic. Like 1 million is a lot.
Yeah, like like I'm still wondering how like wondering what is going to make me exhaust this. I know there are corner cases to it. I know there is a way you can exhaust it quickly. I've seen like one of my colleagues have done a research, like imagine building Facebook on serverless functions and how like you can easily rack up a lot of like you can basically mess up a lot of commerce if you try to like build Facebook on serverless. But yeah, but I like no one is trying to build Facebook now. We just want to like build like our startups and stuff like that, which like at the basics, even like a way above basics, like 1 million accounts are way too enough for that. Yeah, so exactly. So exactly one of those corner cases is storage. Just like Mark was about to Mark just highlighted in the chat. In as much as you don't pay anything for execution, if you have to like store anything, first of all, the code you're going to execute is stored in what we call storage, and then not just that, any other assets that your site uses that is stored in your storage, you have to pay for it. But apart from that, if it's just execution, then that's fine. Another really cool thing about function, which is why it's very, very cheap, is the whole idea of code and code start, which basically means that a function unlike other services don't stay awake when they're not being used. So like there's a particular period of time when if no one makes an execution to your site, your function would hibernate, just like the way your laptop goes to sleep. The only downside to that is just like a laptop going to sleep, you have to like hit like a key on the keyboard for it to wake up. Yeah, so like if your function goes to sleep because it's not been used for a while, the next request that comes immediately after it's gone to sleep would be long. It would take longer for that request to be processed. and then but then it would come back. But then like I have a very tricky way of hacking this, which is that if, for example, if I built a site and if you scroll, maybe you want to get to maybe like the part that uses that calls like from this the part of my site that calls the serverless function API is somewhere down the page. Once I see the like once I use a scroll event in the browser to catch that the user is trying to get down to the bottom of the page, and what I would do is to ping the server to wake up while the person starts scrolling. So before the person gets to the point where the user will actually need to make a request, this serverless function is already awake. So like there's a ping that comes before that. So like there are ways around it, but yeah. So yeah, but like the whole idea is that people understand that there's something called a cold start, which is why it's this cheap, is the fact that it sleeps to so as it doesn't consume resources, why it's not being.
Yeah, you have to get just creative with, but or I mean, there's also like the premium plan. I think it's called premium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
or,
yeah. So there's the premium plan.
I think
So the
it's called
consumption.
premium?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it is. So the consumption plan is what I just described now. The premium plan doesn't have it has the feature called like a hot start, which is the opposite of cold start. You don't have to deal with the fact that like the server has to wake up or something because it's constantly awake, it doesn't go to sleep. But of course it comes with its prices and stuff like that. Yeah. But even on production scale, some people like find a way to still use the consumption plan and use it like really well. So you don't have to go. You don't have, it's not like consumption is for staging or development and premium is for production. No, it depends on your use case. If you really need this, like just one request there's just one request you need to wake up the server and that's all.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see what we have in the chat. Nothing, just music playing. But yeah,
come on, people, ask some questions.
Well, I'm going to shout out like our top contributors today, which is Deadloop, ZDL1, and Mark. Thank you all for like being in the chat and like keeping us warm today. Cool. I'm thinking of something I did with serverless I can share. Yeah, I have one thing. While I wait for someone to like maybe drop something in the chat, one of my favorite things that I've done with serverless is, I don't know if you've heard of durable functions. Cool. Yeah. So like there's this amazing folks at on the Azure function team. Just like they woke up one morning and they're like, okay, we don't like the fact that HTTP is stateless. We're going to make it stateful. And then they built this thing called durable function where you can basically like make a request and I like to call it the HTTP that remembers. Like, you know how like in Game of Thrones they say that the not remembers or something like that. Yeah. so I like to call it like the HTTP that remembers. Which Mark says it's like durable is Mark's right topic. Let's talk about durable here. So what happens with durable function is that you have this, like you have a trigger like just like a normal HTTP like serverless function, but then that function, once that function is called, the trigger, like there's, first of all you have like the trigger which receives the request, then the trigger forwards the request to what we call an orchestrator. Now the orchestrator captures every single state of that request and does something with it. So you can do something like, hey, after 5 minutes, maybe like send a reminder, or like you can basically like capture like state in a request and like save that state and then do something with that state sometime in the future, which is really powerful because with like the statelessness nature of HTTP, you won't be able to do something like this, you have to like either you use like sessions or cookies, like make sure like every single like state is tracked. With durable function, you can basically like say, okay, hey, hey, orchestrator, this is what is happening. This is what you need to store. Just store this information, and then maybe sometime in the future, use this information to execute another thing or do something else, and then send back a response. I've seen like different, like one of the use cases I've seen is imagine if you wanted to take a leave, like if you apply for a leave in your company, but then your like if you apply for a leave and then or you submit an expense report or something like that, and then a function, the trigger receives this request for this leave and then sends it to your manager, and also like send a notification to your manager, and also triggers the orchestrator. Now, if your manager doesn't reply after a particular period of time, if it doesn't reply to like okay, I've approved this leave or something, the orchestrator will try again after like a few days, and then if it doesn't get a reply after those few days, it will skip the manager and go to like your manager's manager, kind of. So it's like if you've seen like how powerful you can start using it to automate stuff instead of like, hey, manager, I sent you an email for a leave, but I haven't gotten any response from you. I wanted to check. Yeah, like you have like an automated system that reminds the manager like twice. And then if the manager doesn't get back to you, the same orchestrator would like skip the manager and go to the manager's manager and ask the manager's manager to approve or deny your leave, which I find really amazing. I just like talking about durable function. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw Mark. Mark has a lot of like content around durable functions, and he does a lot of like blocks and stuff. So I've learned a lot from his stuff. But yeah, durable is just so powerful, especially like when you think about. So it works just like normal functions. You have your input bindings and all that. And you can, there's so many patterns that you can implement, like you mentioned, like human interaction or like fan in and fanning out kind of scenarios, or like the async API, like you it's like chaining function, like so much stuff, so much potential. So powerful.
I know that there are examples. I want to see if we can like the examples you just gave now, like the fan out and stuff. Let's see if yep. So there's a page and like this like common scenario, which are really very cool. So apparently, like having both Zoom and Twitch and browser and Slack and email is like it's really killing my computer right now. But I think it's worth the effort that people, Mark and Josh and Deadpool, right? I think we've got some questions. Josh is asking, Azure function. Test my is get thoughts on that. Oh, cool. We're going to get to that, Josh. Definitely, we'll get to Logic Apps and Power Platforms. Yep. Josh is also like saying that Mark has like amazing content on durable functions as well. I think I should start reading a lot of Mark's content. Like Mark, durable is my favorite thing. I think we should be friends. Yeah. Cool. So, but yeah, like for anyone who is trying to like figure out like all these scenarios for durable function, here are some examples on this site, like function chaining, fan in, fan out, monitors, human interaction, and publishing to event grid. So like these are not the only thing you can do, but these are like the common things you can, and like these are like one of the biggest problems that they wanted to solve. Okay. Just saying I'm late. Sorry. Don't worry. Don't like. You're never late. Special. You can always join us like 1 minute before the end. So he's asking if he's not sure if this was if asked, but during development, how can we profile functions of what their potential usage would be and consumption plan? Okay. So I today would not plan to do much technical stuff, so I'm not going to like start going to Azure dashboard and start like doing all this kind of stuff. Or you can definitely like there are if you go to the Azure function dashboard on the side you would see a lot of tools that allows you to do like monitoring and profiling and stuff like that. So you can basically like figure out okay like so far like and there's this really cool thing in Azure that projects price for you based on how people are using your services. So those kind of things can calculate and make like a projection and say, hey, this short by the end of the month you might end up paying for this for function because you are getting this much traffic and this is where this kind of traffic is coming from. So you can then check if that's just like a spike or like are you actually like getting the value or like getting a return on investment for that kind of projection, or is there something you should cut down and stuff like that. So I feel it's one of the like most powerful things about the Azure dashboard is that it gives you those like projections to see what you might end up spending. Yeah. So and then back to Josh's question on logic apps. I was really hoping we talk about logic apps and like a Power Platform and look stuff today. Have you ever used any of it, Gwen?
Yeah, definitely. I think Logic Apps has so many. I think they're called connectors, like services that you can use inside of Logic Apps.
Yeah.
There's so many in there. And like my favorite thing is whenever I have a new solution that I want to tackle with, I'll start looking. Hey, can Logic Apps do this? Maybe I don't need to code anything custom like Logic. Cause, like I remember, I think the first thing I did was there was like an inbox that I needed to monitor for a specific email that came in kind of like weekly. Logic Apps has that. Like you can connect it to Outlook. It'll like listen to a specific keyword or anything like that, and then you can get the attachment and then like send it anywhere. So then I just loop that in. I send it to function. But yeah, it's really It's like it can do so much with other services, or it can do so much on its own. You can like integrate it with functions. And I think people have this idea that because you're not like actually typing code, then it's like less of a service or less of a solution. But for me, the less code I can type, the better. So like I love Logic Apps. Yeah.
So this is my opinion on people who are like really giving low code a hard time. So like if you think about it from an empathetic point of view, you need to understand that there are people. This is for everyone who doesn't appreciate low code enough. There are people who have never written code in their life, but they just need to solve like a day-to-day problems. That first of all, they don't ever get this twisted. They're not coming for your jobs. They just need to be able to like figure out how to like solve their basic needs. For example, last year during the 25 days of serverless, it was in December, and I took a month break, but I was 100% full-time engaged in that initiative. But then I needed to be on break at the same time, be able to release all those challenges every day. So I didn't have time to like start like coding stuff and like trying to like figure out how to like automate stuff. And that was where like Logic App was super helpful to me, because like every day I got like a text message on, hey, this is what you are supposed to publish today, and like just copy this and paste here, and then you start like you have like so I've heard stories of someone like a security dude who is able to like help his company like automate stuff just because he was hacking around like Power Platform and I figured out how to like automate things with Logic. For someone like him, he's not trying to compete with. He's just trying to solve like his basic life problems and like make his life easier. And I think, in my opinion, that is like the entire thing with tech. Like the whole reason why we have technology is to like solve like problems for people. And if things like Logic App makes tech more accessible. And if you think of somewhere like very emerging markets where they don't have like enough resource to like learn enough and become really technically get really technical with concepts like serverless functions, things like logic app, get them started and like actually start solving their local problems without being like the best developers in the world. That's where I stand when it comes to like low code versus no low code. So yeah, but personally, like I've used logic apps a lot, and it's not my go-to solution. I'm like my home is VS Code, so it's easy for me to just like pin up things and like start coding. And I'm not a very good visual creator. Like this is not just about logic app. I cannot go to Figma or Sketch and start drawing lines and boxes. Not my favorite thing. So, but for someone who doesn't have that technical knowledge to be able to like write code, like all they have is a visual aid to design their solution to their problem, and I feel like they deserve whatever they get from it. Yep. Josh said he had to drop off. Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was super fun hanging out with you.
Hi, Josh.
Yeah. It's really cool. We had like all this. I was expecting that maybe people won't show up and it would just be me and you talking about serverless, but then we have people to chat with, which is super cool. Nice. Okay. Let me see like how we are doing on time, and we still have like we have like a few more minutes, and if anyone wants to still like ask questions, we'll have about 20 minutes before we wrap up for today. If anyone wants to share anything, like please feel free to share or ask questions, and like answering them. I'm trying to think of something else I've built with serverless. Yeah, there's one thing we should talk about before we go. I feel so bad that this did not get enough love. Like we would have talked about it like earlier before now, but yeah. So like static web app APIs, like yeah, like with the whole era of Jamstack, people have more reasons to write less back-end code, and there's a perfect fuse between the fact that people don't want to write back-end code and the fact that serverless exists now. So people can just like build like a static app, and just like if they need an API form for an API endpoint for people who want to reach out to them through contact form, or people who just want to do stuff. Thank you, Bamal. And people who just want to like maybe process anything that, or like just any computing they want to do on the static side, they have like a serverless function there to help them out, which they can just like spin up quickly, and like with like they won't have to spend much time on it. They just like have to they only end up focusing on just building what they are trying to like achieve with their app. Yeah. Have you tried the static web app, Gwen?
I think when it first was announced, I did play around with it a little bit, but Blazor isn't supported yet. I'm waiting for it. It's supposedly coming soon, I think so. But I think it's cool. I mean, anything that gets you like started quicker without having to worry about all the logistics and stuff like that is like just always going to, it lowers the entry.
Exactly, the entry.
It looks super cool. I mean, a bunch all the demos. You know, I'm just waiting for Blazor support, but maybe I should learn some JavaScript. I don't know.
I was about to make fun of you and like, hey, JavaScript is getting all the love, but now I feel bad that you say you want to learn JavaScript. Okay, but yeah, like I'm not one of those who's going to be opinionated about JavaScript. I'm like, yeah, learn it. I had to learn it because I needed to learn something to make some money as quickly as possible. but but yeah. So I think for like for Blazor it's coming like super soon. Hopefully I know like they should have something for it. But one thing though I think is worth highlighting is that the whole point of the whole thing with static web app is that we're trying to like the entire Jamstack community is trying to like make sure you have less reason to write JavaScript. Like with all the tools out there, the whole reason why there are all these tools out there is that basically you just have a CLI tool and HTML and CSS and you're good to go. So you don't have to have like a JavaScript a lot of JavaScript experience to start like building static web apps. So I know like with things like Gatsby, it's like just like CLI tool to you generate a blog and then that's all. Like you don't have to like start writing JavaScript code for it to work. Yeah. My point is that my point is that you can definitely like try out static web apps with like existing frameworks that generate static web apps without any knowledge of JavaScript.
Maybe I'll try it later, and maybe I'll do like a video of me trying it, throw it up on YouTube.
Yes.
And I'll say like .NET developer tries JavaScript for the first time or something.
Yeah, that I would love to watch.
Question.
Yeah. Okay, let me see.
Yeah. Got a question.
First of all, Deadloop had to drop. Thank you so much for joining us today, Deadloop. It was really amazing. Jeremy, how would you compare all the serverless platforms? Their function Mongo Realm, Netlify, AWS, all these of them have about serverless functionality. I've not done any competitive analysis on these. I have a lot of experience using Azure Function. I know the only thing I don't know if any of the other ones have rolled it out is durable functions. That's the one thing I know that Azure Function has, which makes me like always want to use it. Speaking of durable function, that's what we have on the screen right now. But that said, I strongly feel like they have maybe just a little pricing difference, but I strongly feel like they share most of the functions, most of the features. Apart from Azure Function, which has the extra durable functions, I've not seen any other like provider that offers durable. Do you think any other one offers durable function, Gwen? I've not seen.
I don't think so. If I wanted to approach like which one I would pick,
yeah.
I've used Lambda, and I've used Azure Functions, and I think right now it's just like, so where are you currently at? Like, are you already using AWS? Are you already using I've also used, I think they're called Cloud Functions, Google Cloud. So are you already using GCP? Are you already using Azure? Like where you at are there. It's like whatever service or serverless offering that the cloud platform has, it's always going to work like natively better with whatever it is that your platform you're on. So like think functions. You have all the amazing input bindings, the output bindings, and all that stuff, and then you can get them to work with other Azure services. So I don't think necessarily it's at a point where it's like, okay, functionality wise, because they all kind of work the same now and pricing is very similar. It's more like, all right, which one is going to get me going quicker?
Exactly.
Because if you're like completely in Azure and you just want to set up like some AWS Lambdas to work with your Azure, like, well, why don't you just use functions? It's gonna work for you. I
totally agree with that, and I just want to make sure this is clear to everyone. The whole idea of Serverless September, it's a community-driven initiative. So it's independent of like I'm just talking about function because that's what that's the first thing I met when I tried serverless for the first time. But just like Gwen mentioned, you don't have to. They share like basically the same. They have like basically the same functionality. So if you already like use a particular cloud provider, it would be easy for you and faster for you to stick with that one than trying to switch. Because you had this one is probably cooler. Yeah. So I feel like they share the same thing. Unless you want to start like doing like way more interesting or advanced stuff with durable functions, then that's when you might need to like connect like to Azure functions, to durable functions in Azure. Yeah. Yep.
It's kind of like picking a programming language.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like which language you pick. It's like understanding what you're doing when you're programming, and then when you pick up another language, well, you just have to learn like the details and the syntax. It's kind of like the same with serverless offerings. You understand the basic like theory and like you understand like what's event driven and all that kind of stuff, and then you move on to a different platform. It's not gonna be exactly the same, but you're gonna know how to figure your way out. So like, why not just start with the one that's to get started with? Yeah,
makes sense. And Jeremy, I hope that answers your
question.
Yeah. And feel free to follow up the question with or like ask for more. Okay. Cool. So we're still like taking. We have like let's see. Left. Okay, we have like we just have 3 more minutes left, but feel free to still like drop your questions or just shout out or like just say hi in the chat, tell us where you are located currently, and we'll just do like random shout outs. If you're still here with us, just like drop your name and drop where you are joining us from, and yeah, we'll just like maybe make fun of you and just shout out your name. That's all. Really hoping someone because I'm seeing like there are people on Twitter and there are people on Twitch. Maybe people just like hearing our voices and they just like put it on and just probably go to bed, or or like just like while they are multitasking, someone is probably cooking and listening to us on sound system.
I do that. I put streams in the background.
Yeah.
Just like when I'm doing something, because I like listening to people talk, and like especially if it's a topic that I enjoy, just kind of having them in the background, and every now and then I'm listening. So maybe people are doing that.
Okay, cool. We'll go one. At least first of all, to everyone who has been sending messages, we received 100 messages today, which is amazing. Thank you. Then this shot is asking, I love that you had gained this. Wish I had more. I really don't start off. Oh, Space Shot, this is the place for you. Every Friday, this same time, just come hang out with us, and literally like every single question you have, we would start from scratch, like from the fundamentals from this Friday to talk about like how to set up serverless and deploy it. So like this is like you are literally in the right place at the right time. So don't forget to join us on Friday. Just like you can just follow this Twitch account or follow any of us on Twitter, and we'll find you when.
Yeah, definitely. I think our goal is for like to start this Friday with kind of how to get started, and then by the end of the month you'll have like a solid foundation for you to do like next steps or whatever. But yeah,
exactly.
We're gonna do like a lot more hands-on starting on.
Yeah.
This is the best time. Serverless September is the best time to get started with serverless.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, I think we can end this stream. I feel like we've done a great job. How do you feel, Gwen?
I feel good. I feel like we figured out the technical errors. I think maybe some things we still need to iron out. But I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad that we had people in the chat. I like talking to people. I like just seeing what they're saying. This is great. I'm super excited for Friday.
Oh, okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. See you on Friday. Gwyn and Chris. Bye.
Bye.